Quarterfinal, semifinal days I think we've all had together. This has been a lot of fun. Sheptock, Deco, Dean, and Ruth. The top three seeds are in. Deco is the dark horse in this one for Old Dominion. Sheptock is one of just 3 unbeaten wrestlers coming into action in the semis. So he's your #1 seed taking on Deco in the upper left. Meanwhile, this is a match that has been very heavily anticipated. Gabe Dean, freshman for Cornell, against Ed Ruth. Ruth had an 84-match win streak going into the Southern Scuffle. Dean is the one who ended it after losing to Ruth earlier this year. And in the win for Dean, as he gives up 2 points, he wasn't relaxed. He was going for points. He got a couple takedowns on Ruth.
That's exactly what Dean needs to do in this match. He needs to take it to Ruth. You saw Dean, he initiated that scramble there, trying to go for the takedown. Ruth countered it, but that's what Dean has to do. He's got to be aggressive here. He's got to keep Ruth on his heels.
There's an escape. It feels like the last 2 years, Cornell has had the breakout star. Nashawn Garrett last year was going to go into the finals this year at 125. And it really feels like Gabe Dean is that guy this year. 38-2 on the season. His 2 losses to Ruth and the guy who's wrestling in the upper left corner who's got the lead, Jimmy Sheptock. When Dean lost to Ruth earlier this season, it was a Ruth pin. Dean came back with a vengeance with a very impressive victory in the finals of the Southern Scuffle. Dean has a great pedigree as well. His father, David, was a 2-time Big Ten champion for Maryland and a national runner-up in 1987. Excellent quarterback in high school at Lowell in Michigan. Said he wanted to opt for wrestling and did so by gray shirting at Cornell. Was taking classes at a community college, and while he was doing that was wrestling with the Cornell Wrestling Club during his gray shirt year.
Well, at this weight class, you've got a lot of football players. And Deco from Old Dominion was one of those. He ran for 244 yards and 4 touchdowns in the state finals in Illinois with Richmond Burton.
I remember he had a 68-yard time in Illinois resident. I remember a 68-yard touchdown run that he put together. It was pretty darn impressive. Out of a small town in Illinois, that's Jack Deco. Population of Richmond, Illinois, which is about 55 miles northwest of Chicago. It's 1,900. That's it. Ruth in on the ankle, trying to cut the corner against Dean, who tries to scramble out of bounds. Stall call. Gabe Dean gets hit with the stall call with 48 to go in the first.
It was just nice edge of the mat wrestling there by Ruth. It looked like Gabe Dean relaxed a little bit. Ruth used that length to try to go down for that ankle, and came out with the stall call there.
Nice job by Dean there, because not many people can ward off the reach of Ruth. He's got such long arms. He hardly has to penetrate to get a leg. And then he turns singles into doubles with almost no effort. And right now, Dean warding off that shot by Ruth. And contrast in physical presence there. The long arms, the short, bulky football player in Dean.
Yeah, Ruth, you're talking about football players. Ruth is a pretty good high school swimmer. Length and reach for Ed Ruth. Escape point for Deco in the second period. Sheptock and Deco tied up at 2 apiece.
Doesn't even sound fair. He could have had a dead heat, and he reaches and wins every time.
So Ruth on top, trying to ride Dean to start the second period. It's been an emotional year for Ed Ruth. Had some off-the-mat issues in December. He was charged with a DUI stemming from a November incident. Had a very rough night, as some college kids will have a tendency to do, but ended up being suspended for a month, ended up losing that match against Dean to snap his known win streak. And all of a sudden, Ed Ruth coming back from all of that. Seems like the weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Had some time to get away from it. No more pressure of the win streak. I would imagine that would have to help you out a little bit mentally. You know, I know nobody wants to lose and nobody wants to go through what he's gone through. To his credit, he's handled it pretty well.
Well, it's definitely got to help with that recharging. You know, obviously he wouldn't want to go through those challenges, but being able to step away for a little bit, like you said, allowing that pressure from the win streak to go away, it just allows Ruth to go out there and have fun. You know, he just likes to sit there, relax, have fun, and enjoy the sport. That's where when he wrestles his best.
Remember, Penn State's best wrestling stretch has just come these last 3 years under Cael Sanderson. They hadn't won a title since 1953, and they've come back with 3 straight national championships. And Ed Ruth is trying to become the first 3-time champion in Penn State history. They have 27 titles from 22 different wrestlers. David Taylor's got one of them too. But they've never had a 3-time champion. Ruth is trying to become the first in Penn State history. Tony Nelson, who you'll see in the heavyweights from Minnesota, is trying to do the same. But Minnesota's long, storied wrestling program's history, trying to be the first 3-time champion.
Well, you make a good point of pinpointing Ruth, and then of course Taylor. When you talk about the start of this run by Penn State, we know when it started, and I don't see where it might end. I mean, we see the parity, but Penn State's right there with their young wrestlers. Rutherford, true freshman, but we know where it started. Ruth and Taylor.
Sheptock gets the escape point to start the 3rd period in the upper left. Guys, these are once-in-a-generation guys. Taylor, Ruth, and they happen to be on the same team at the same time.
You know, I might even correct myself there. Where it started is when Penn State went and got Cael Sanderson from Iowa State. That's where it started, and then Cael Sanderson goes out and selects in arguably the best prep country in the world, and that's Pennsylvania high school wrestling. Incredible number of qualifiers that come out of Pennsylvania in this tournament.
Ruth is on the bottom, and Dean is going to cut him right away. So they start the 3rd period, and this isn't your typical Ed Ruth match with the offense. We haven't seen as many opportunities for offense as we usually see with Ruth, who's got tech falls and pins, and he's a great bonus point guy. Haven't seen a whole lot of it, and Dean has seemingly slowed down this match. I think you've talked about that during the week. You sometimes have to do that against high-paced guys.
Oh, you definitely do. You know, just kind of get them off their strategy here. And Dean, you know, he's got to get a little bit more shots off now. He's doing a great job of just tying up with Ruth and stuffing Ruth's takedowns, but now he's got to get a little bit more active on his feet here. I'm not sure if that early exchange where they got in that scramble position, if maybe Dean got a little bit hesitant after that. You know, if he's got to believe in those takedowns and commit to them.
You got to remember one thing here. I've mentioned it before. It's about winning here. Gabe Dean is a formidable opponent. He's very good, and this is what Ruth wants to do. He wants to win this match.
Upper left, Sheptock trying to finish out these final 7 seconds for Maryland. He's got the 3-2 lead. Riding time not a factor. Dekow going for the shot. He's not going to be able to put it together in the final seconds. And Jimmy Sheptock remains unbeaten, 32-0. And he's headed to the national championship match for the first time in his career. Here we go. Ruth has the riding time point locked. Ended up in a stalemate here.
Well, if Dean can stay on the mat, which they don't. They
stalemate right there. There's the guy you were talking about, Tim. It started with him.
159-0 at Iowa State as a competitor, Olympic gold medalist. And you know what they said about Cael Sanderson? Well, he's only got one move. Well, he set that move up a million different ways, and that's why Taylor reminds me so much of his coach.
Here's Dean trying to get Ruth down. Again, add the riding time point for Ed Ruth, so he's not in a dangerous position just yet. Dean comes up, though, with the 2-point takedown, and now he's got to get out of bounds. Last chance. Ruth has the riding time point. Officials looking at the clock. 9 seconds. Here we go. Ruth trying to defend. Dean trying to get in on a leg. Ruth sprawling and handling. Great sprawl. Wow, you're right, Tim. Very good reflexes right there by Ruth. well defensed. The Ruth chant goes up, and Ed Ruth, with his dad Eddie and his mom Tania looking on, is going to make the national championship match once again. He's going to gun for his 3rd title.
Quite a freshman there in Gabe Dean.
No
He's
doubt.
got a great future.
Let's go down to Quint Kesnick. He's with Cale Sanderson.
Coach, not as pretty as it usually is for Ed, but he gets the job done. What's your reaction to the win?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough opponent. You know, he's he's just a tough kid. He's good in all positions, so, you know, we'll take a win there.
Earlier, David Taylor was dominant. Did you have a chance to watch? I know you were caught on the side.
You know, these side matches are a big deal. Guys are fighting for All-American honors. But, yeah, I was watching them real close. I'm really happy for him.
Well, what your thought on the team race, Coach? Right now, it looks like a 3-horse race. But you guys just take a momentary lead for now. What's going to make the difference in the team race?
We've got to score some points. You know, we got to come tomorrow morning and get here and do some work. I mean, it's just who's going to show up and score points. That's what it's all about.
Thanks, Coach. Adam.
Quint, thanks very much. Penn State's semifinalists are in. They've got 2 of them into the finals. Oklahoma State goes 4 for 4. That's the team race. Their wrestlers are done. Sheptock and Ruth, another 1 versus 2 matchup. Undefeated Jimmy Sheptock